So what's new with you?
Nothing to speak of.
And staying out of trouble?
More or less.
Got your holy shirt on today.
Yeah, it does kind of look holy.
Yeah, what I mean by holy is like the priest collar thing.
Yeah, a lot of clergy wear this.
Right.
And you got a brightly colored blue shirt on today.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's a bright blue.
Yeah. Well, Paul, it certainly seems like I don't possess enough confidence in myself. No matter what I do, I immediately start thinking negative thoughts. I talk myself out of anything I might be trying to do. I haven't got the confidence to do anything. Do you know what I mean?
So whatever plans you set out for yourself, you feel in your heart that you're going to fail, and you try to talk yourself out of trying? I bet that'll probably save you from failing in a thing or two, but it also might cut out a chance where you could succeed.
Right.
Do you think you need to have more confidence?
I don't know. Success at doing something would help me feel confident.
Yeah.
I express myself like a little kid would. I'm still going around the merry-go-round. I'm a little kid still. You see that, don't you?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but you feel like you're a little kid still. About how old do you think that is? Like high school or earlier?
I really don't feel like a little kid. It's the issues I talk about.
So how old are those issues, do you think?
15 years? Maybe just over that?
In a 15 or 16-year-old's body? You worry about not having enough confidence to try?
Right.
Are you thinking that's where you got stuck in life, at 15 or 16?
Probably.
Well, what was going on for you back then?
Oh, I was going around with this group of preppy kids. We cut school every day, drinking every day. There were some mushrooms. One time a kid pocketed his mom's Valium, things like that. But I was kissing all the girls I could find.
Were there a lot of girls back then?
Oh, I had my fair share back then. I'm not the king of romance. I never did have a lot of confidence in myself. But I got my fair share of girls. More than some guys.
So even when you were a teenager, in regards to women, you didn't have a lot of confidence in yourself?
Right. I was just totally negative as a youngster. I was so shy. I mean, it all goes back to myself. I was a diseased kid. I needed some psychological help. But I didn't get it.
What do you think was missing that you ended up so shy?
Well, one thing it was because my dad was sick. And I grew up surrounded by negativity. My mom was so old. I grew up in a house that I was afraid to show to your worst enemy in my family life. If you knew my brothers and my sister, you'd know what I'm talking about my family.
So there was something really wrong with your family?
It's so true.
And your mom was old, right? How do you think her being old led you to the negative? What are you thinking?
Well, I just got hurt because she was old, and I took things inwardly instead of outwardly. I think Mother was old, and I could tell she was too old when I was still a baby, because I can remember withdrawing back into myself. Hurt was one of the first recollections I can remember, and
So reaching out for love and feeling rejected, and then pulling back into your own body?
right.
So kind of like taking all the attachments from the world and pouring it into yourself.
Right.
So is that what you're still doing now? Is there still that sense of hurt about you?
True, at least where I'm concerned. I don't trust anyone. That's the one thing I wanted to talk to you about. On the job used to be every time I tripped up, someone was out there tripping me. But I don't know whether that was the schizophrenia or...
Well, your earliest memory is reaching out to the world and feeling terribly hurt and pulling back into yourself. And then you say, hey, I don't trust anyone at all.
Right.
Well, those related, do you think? The hurt at the get-go and then pulling into yourself and not trusting people?
Maybe. I mean, I sort of think so.
Well, what do you think? Do you still have that wound from your mom?
Well, I think I never got over it. I don't think I got enough love from her, you know. Now, when my brother started growing, I felt like I wanted to accomplish the world, you know. I think love can make a lot of difference in people, the way they respond. You know, see, my mother never did hug me, kiss me, tell me she loved me, or treat me like something to be cherished. She never said I could be a senator or a congressman.
Yeah, like a lawyer, an astronaut, a baseball player.
Tennis player, a pro golfer. Just what it is. It is. There's no kind of love or inspiration. No one said to me, you could do this, you could do that, you could do anything. If you just try. There was no nurturing or bonding. Nothing.
With your brothers, though, when they gave you love, you felt like you could take on the world.
Well, I felt at one time I could. I felt better then than I've ever felt in my life. That was when I felt my brother Steve was active in my life. He loved me.
When was that, when you felt Steve's love?
When I was in my 20s. So I know that I missed out on a lot of things a lot of other people get that I never had a chance. It would have, maybe I would have felt confident. That's what I'm going through. All my life, somebody who has been hurt, I'm that person who's been hurt and can't get over it. Someone who, like, they never get the love they need and they never got the inspiration they need. Something like that.
So you've been stuck and not able to get over that.
Right.
You got some love from Steve.
I think it's why I feel bad all the time. Because I never got the love that I needed. Without the presence of someone who loves you, you just don't form the right idea in your head. Feelings of being loved and loving somebody.
Sometimes when babies aren't handled, they die. So yeah, people need that. So your job today is to find a way to have as full a life as you can, even though you have this hurt. You've not been able to get over it.
That's exactly it.
And to be able to have some dreams for yourself and to feel good, to feel okay for yourself.
Yeah, right.
To be able to expect you to accomplish things, to do things.
Even today, sometimes I love my wife. I love Janet. But I don't think I love her enough. I'm not madly in love with her. I have to understand that if you saw her, she's not exactly very attractive. Janet's not a very attractive woman.
She's not going to be a supermodel.
And her body and all that, it's like adding... She's so tall and skinny. There are no breasts there to speak of. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't want to tell Janet about how I see her because I love her. I don't want to hurt her because she's a good wife in a lot of ways for me. Oh, she doesn't gamble or steal. She has a job.
Yeah.
But as far as physical appearance, which is important to men, attraction or being the most well-liked, but I could like someone. I know I could.
Are you saying that Janet didn't fill your mom's shoes and give you that love in her place?
Right.
That's what you're thinking?
Yeah.
So Janet is good as a companion, but she hasn't solved that wound.
Boy, right. You're in the money today. You must have taken all those goddamn magic vitamins.
Well, I think you're right on the money today. I'm just listening carefully to what you're saying. So you pulled into yourself, and there's been something that is really wrong. really wrong, and no one is ever going to completely get over that. But how can you build up enough sense of yourself to enjoy your life and dream for yourself and succeed?
Exactly. You know, the neighborhood I came from, the other kids got better. They got it better. They got better training. 2 functional parents in the home and all that. I did better than a lot of them did, so, I mean, I haven't really done all that badly, really. You know, up until this. Then I started getting my entitlement checks. And next, the medication. And finally, I was really sick and got off in my own world where I just took a free ride. Before that, though, I didn't do all that poorly. I had over 20 years of work experience.
Yeah.
Well,
there was a period where even with all that hurt, you managed okay.
Yeah.
You worked for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned you got the disability, medication and sickness.
Oh, I know.
And then you went, what you said you did as a kid, you went back into yourself?
Well, I wish I could feel that love that I so desire.
You're starving for it. What are you feeling?
Grief.
Grief. How would you describe what you're feeling?
I guess I'm sort of feeling sorry for myself.
You really got a raw deal.
Yeah, I did.
Is this so terrible that there is a heavy sadness? What's in your heart?
Yes, it is. I have a heavy sadness.
It's so hard to get over and trust again. Get back to where you were those 20 or more years ago.
You know, I'm not sure I could maintain myself at a real life job. I'm sick. I think there's something wrong with me. You know, I stay tired all the time. I'm sleepy. Like right now I'm sleepy, you know?
You look depressed right now. You feel depression. That would be my word, but that's what it looks like. Because just the heaviness in your body, it just gives up. Maybe you feel too much sadness and heaviness to work full time.
Well, if I get to where I could just get to work and build up my stamina, maybe I could work full time. My problem is I haven't had a job that's lasted a year. What do you think of that? Something is wrong in there somewhere, isn't it? I'm tired of worrying about it. Do you know what I mean? After years of worrying about it, I'm ready to give up. Do you know what I mean?
Well, what we're talking about is when the world is disappointing you, rejecting you, you want to pull back and say, screw it. So that habit you have, at least I think you're telling me it's a habit that you have. Those 20 or more years you worked, how were you able to do that?
It was miserable. I was a miserable person.
You're a miserable guy?
Precisely.
Well, what was it like?
When I was around people, I was lucky. But I couldn't hang very long with them. When I was away from them, I'd be terribly, desperately needing attention. I was so hungry for their friendship, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes I just can't hang with people and feel comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel sick or upset. I just feel weird. Do you know what I mean?
So when you're with people for a while, feelings come up in you that are hard to understand and is confusing?
Right.
And you feel like hell sometimes too.
Right.
Well, I remember last week when we met, you were talking some about how if you were to reach out to someone, it would make you feel pretty vulnerable. Do you recall that part of our talk?
I do.
Yeah.
I was talking about the temple.
Yeah, but what happened if you reached out and said hey to someone and tried to connect? That would be very difficult. Are we sort of talking about the same thing now? You sort of feel weird and sick around people?
Sure.
Well, maybe it's that same thing. When the world feels bad, you pull back. It's a habit. It's really hard to break, to reach out to somebody else.
Sure.
Well, we have a couple minutes left, and I'm wondering, what do you think about our visit today?
You always got to have something to say.
Yeah, I do, don't I? Why do you think I ask?
See what my response has been so far as relationships of us, you and me, and going along?
Yeah, I guess I also want to know how you see it. I guess I don't always know. I never know, so I have to ask.
Well, I think it's been worthwhile. I think you helped me some, quite a bit really. But I think it's going to require a lot more psychotherapy for me.
Yeah.
I just need to be patient. Just not keep repeating the usual mistakes. Keep true to people. I'm doing pretty good in my own opinion, you know.
Yeah, even though you feel bad about yourself, you can look and see that you've done quite a bit that's good.
Yeah, I forgot to tell. I signed up for piano lessons again. My first meeting with my teacher's coming up on Friday. We start on Friday.
Do you?
Yeah, we do.
Well, how do you feel about that?
Oh, doubtful. Don't know whether I'll quit again or not. And see, there's that self-doubt again.
Yeah, it's a powerful self-doubt, absolutely.
Some people would say to themselves, well, I'm going to succeed. No problem with that. I guess I know I'll stick with it this time.
Well, hurts are hard to get over. And people who say, I'll succeed no matter what, I really don't know anyone like that. But I think that most other people have both voices in their head. One that says, oh, I don't know about this, and they have a second voice that says, well, you can do this. So you've got two thoughts going on. It isn't that you've just got one or the other, I don't think. So how do you think you could get that second voice to, converse with it or give it or yourself more due?
Just go meet the teacher, and then there's a master class once a month. I have to force myself to go.
You know what? I bet you $1 it'll go well.
See, I'm worried about sticking with things.
Yeah.
I think it's because I've seen my brothers over the years miss a lot of work. You know what I mean? Of course, both of them weren't very healthy either. Maybe I've drawn some conclusions from that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, maybe there's a positive way to look at it. Your brothers both have lots of serious medical problems, but they both keep plugging away.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to be a strong person to do that.
They're definitely strong.
Well, it seemed to me like an especially deep talk today. That's my 2 cents. There's a lot of hard stuff for you to do to be able to reach out to people. And hopefully you can get back to where you were before, back when you were working for 20 years. But not being miserable working, but feeling better about yourself. It looks like it's almost 3. I've got a meeting I have to be at. I'm glad you made it here.
I didn't know whether you'd see me or not today. You might have been counseling someone else in your office.
Well, 2 to 2:45 is your time. And I've been late for you and cut you short plenty of times. You reminded me. So we'd be even.
Yeah.
Well, do you want another drop of coffee for the road?
No, that's okay.